It is a great idea to reject all of the advice that you get. Now, why do I say this? Generally, people on self improvement, people trying to improve themselves or gather knowledge, they read a bunch of books. In a business school, they make you read one kind of book. Now, what's different about these is that we, as sovereign individuals, we have the ability to gather a bunch of knowledge from anywhere, and the internet has expanded our ability. Before, we only had libraries that gave us local knowledge or even knowledge that was within the nation. Now we have the knowledge of the entire world. Anyone from anywhere can tell you anything. Any book can come to you simply because it can be mass produced so quickly. Any idea can be mass produced so quickly. And the majority of ideas are very personalized. So think about it like this. Both schools and books set you up for failure unless you extract the information appropriately. So now what do I mean by this? Generally, once we read books, we try to gather whatever knowledge we can from this. So for example, if you read Rich Dad, Poor Dad, the entire book was about real estate and how to invest and how to save your money, right? And if you read The E-Myth Revisited, it'll tell you how businesses are the best way to get rich. Now what's interesting is that these two things, they do actually work. But now you have a choice. You could either start a business or you could get into real estate. The majority of people get into real estate because firstly, Rich Dad Poor Dad is extremely viral book. The E-Myth isn't that big. The E-Myth is like a small business book, tells you how businesses work, how to appropriately run it. But Rich Dad Poor Dad, a lot of people, I think 40 million people have read it. So the idea here is that you shouldn't be reading all of these books simply because they tell you about wealth. You should be reading every kind of book, but reject most of the advice and extract the principles. So if you were to start a business, individuals say that experience is the best teacher, and I agree. If you were to start a business, you would have a very personalized way to get through your business, right? You say, oh, like at this time, on this week, I kind of fell down, right? Like I lost motivation or something like that. But what's interesting is that throughout all of these books, some individuals at some point in time do lose that motivation. So for example, if I were to start a business and you were to start real estate, within 1 year and 2 months, I might lose motivation. But then you in real estate might lose motivation 3 years down the line. We both lost motivation, we just lost it at different times. And what's interesting, if we were both to write a book, we would write it based on that timeline. We both had individual stories. Now, what we can extract from this is that we both had our own individual story. And what this means is that what you're reading right now is a bunch of individual stories with individual key points. And if you can extract the general principles from this, that you will have times where you will fall down, where you will struggle, where you won't have the motivation to get out of bed. You will understand that this is going to happen to you at some time. Prepare for this. Don't prepare for it a year and 1 month from now. Don't prepare for it 3 years from now. Just prepare for it. It's the same with every principle you learn. When someone talks about business and someone talks about real estate, what you need to learn is both of these things takes time. They both take leverage. They both take action. What is similar amongst all of the books you've read? That's what you need to understand. That is what the purpose of reading books is. It's not to follow one singular path, but to extract ideas from different paths and try to converge on your own. There are an infinite amount of ways to get rich, but they do follow a simple set of principles. If you know those principles, you can become rich. The small details will always be specific to you and you only. This is why self-improvement is not a competition. Your business is not a competition. Neither should it be. Because if it is, it sucks, so that's a different video. Nothing you do should be a competition. Your workout routine should not be a competition. You might get injured and the other person might not. They might get ahead of you. That doesn't mean you're a loser. You just had a different path. They might get injured in the future. Do not listen to individual stories. When people say you are your own best competition, they mean it. And this is literally the definition. You are your own best competition. Nothing can beat you except for you. So go out and beat yourself. Not literally. Don't. That's weird. No. Hopefully you're not beating yourself.